Beware the Ides of March. This is Cory, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Much like daylight savings time, we're going to tell you when it's an hour, and it is really an hour, but it feels like so much more. Good afternoon, and welcome to episode 362 of the O The Anthem podcast, coming to you from the hashtag OTA LA Studios, high above the 110 freeway in downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for listening on your podcatcher of choice, the easiest way, anchor.fm/O The Anthem.
And, of course, you can join us live, Facebook and Twitter, or not anymore, Facebook and Twitch and YouTube, O The Anthem, where we record every episode live on Mondays. And you can come join us in the Discord where you can put your comments in. And I joke about the episode being a little long, but Cory already had to deal with my hour-long rant in our pre-show, so that's out of my system.
We had 45 minutes of before we even started talking about what we were going to talk about on this show of Rob rants. So hopefully,
well, no, it's a topic of the show. I just waxed poetic about that and all of the issues related to that.
Yeah.
So it's not important. Certainly, it has nothing to do with our number one topic of the week, which is what, Cory?
Well, not the number one topic. Just we usually start with personal stuff.
Okay.
So
The most important topic.
We usually start with personal stuff up top. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
So today, as of the day that this episode released, and why wouldn't you listen to it on the day that it was released?
Right.
I will be getting my first dose of the COVID vaccine. Not sure whether it's the Pfizer or the Moderna, but I'm fine either way.
It's not the Johnson & Johnson, though.
No.
Because you have to make a second appointment. So
Right, and the Johnson & Johnson isn't quite available yet because they've already dispersed what they have available.
I was going to
and
say,
they're
in
making
California,
more.
yes.
I think in general, just like, you might be able to get it places, but it's not like what they have right now is what they have.
Okay.
So
I was fair, because I could fly home to Maryland and get it tomorrow.
yeah.
But here I am in the largest city in the country.
Yeah.
In the largest county in the country.
Yeah, I mean, it always the problem is that it's so different depending on what state you live in, depending on what kind of where you are in the line. But I was deemed worthy of it because I'm fat, so I will go get it tomorrow so that my obesity doesn't kill me in this way.
Well, I was gonna say it's there's heart,
it's a ticking
heart,
time bomb. Eventually,
diabetes.
it'll happen, but like. For the meantime, at the very least, I can keep myself from getting COVID. So there's that. Or at least getting COVID in a destructive manner.
Right. And I think we said about Johnson & Johnson weeks ago, like, yeah, it's less effective, but 100% chance or 100% proven that it will not put you in the hospital or that you'll die from COVID.
Right.
Which is really all I'm looking for. Stay
Yeah.
off the ventilator and stay out of the morgue.
I mean, if I knew that I would have a tiny bout of COVID, like one of those, like, oh, I was a little bit stuffy for a day or two, but nothing else, like, I think a lot of us would have signed up for that.
Oh, I get to eat an onion on TikTok and be like, I can't even taste it. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Chicken pox party, like where we find somebody who has a very light case and then all the kids come over for a sleepover.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I'd do that.
But this keeps me from having to do that, or guarantees that if I do get the virus, that it'll hopefully only be the mild variation of it.
A mild version. And because Cory is amongst the 3 million people in the city of Los Angeles who are getting vaccinated,
something like that.
Yeah. I think we're heading towards 3 million.
We'll have 500,000 in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
From last week and this week, so
hopefully that means we're closing on 3 million if we got 500,000 in 2 weeks. But Los Angeles has, for the first time since April 2020, so nearly a year, entered the red tier. And the red tier means a couple of things that are important to us specifically.
Yeah.
Every restaurant can open again. So even places that offered carryout before but closed because the dining room is how they really made their money will be back open again, so we can order carryout. Dining rooms are open again.
Well, the indoor will be open, but it's still a limit. I think it's still 25% on the indoors.
For now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. But most importantly, movie theaters are open again. Yes, as of today recording, tomorrow you listening. Although I will repeat, Cory, as I've told everyone, when I've had to defend myself to HR about this podcast. We advocate downloading and not listening. Just download and then delete, and it's fine. You don't even have to listen to it.
I mean, maybe just
listen
to the quip at the beginning, and then you're just like, oh, I got enough of this, and then stop listening.
I found myself making the argument, listen,
download it on several devices. Don't listen anywhere. Like,
we tell the people to download and not listen. So whoever's reporting this is just not even following our directions when it comes to that.
We have specific rules.
So with theaters reopening, it of course means we can return to the theaters. And I think the rule is 35% or less filled. And we have historically been fans of AMC theaters and the AMC A-list, and they are following a 25 to 30% rule, no more than 30%, but they're generally going to try to be a quarter full, which I like. It's a little less than what's recommended, and hopefully theaters will be a little less full. Not true tonight. The 8 o'clock show tonight that we were looking at actually sold out. It's sold out the 30% or whatever. So I'm sure a lot of people are anxious to get out and go do things. That's good. We're in the red tier. We'll see. Snippet of the conversation Cory and I had earlier. It's something I said on the podcast weeks and months ago. We're sacrificing our working class in order to open up the economy, because I guarantee you 50% of the people who are going back to work now don't qualify for a vaccine. Just much like 50% of the people who have worked throughout the entire pandemic don't qualify for the vaccine yet. So, although the 55-year-old white lady from Beverly Hills who jumped the line and got her vaccine, and the 75-year-old person of any race in LA who got the vaccine can go out to a restaurant in Beverly Hills, there is a 50-50 shot that the person who's taking their order may or may not have the vaccine. So if they die, my point as it stands now, and it will stand until the end of this, thousands of people needlessly dying because economy. So.
See, I again don't necessarily think that it's a binary thing where it's like economy equals death, or like opening up equals. Mm-hmm. I think that if everyone, this is the big if, because people are so flagrantly stupid in this country that it's impossible to do almost anything with the best of intentions 100% completely right. But I think there is a way that I could be on set right now, mm-hmm. because I think we found a way to do this in a safe enough manner. So I don't need to stay home just because I can go out and work if I choose to. I don't think that's me putting myself at undue risk for the economy. That's me having to make decisions about having to go to work at some point. I can't just continuously be not working forever.
You will never hear me argue that Americans are not the dumbest people in the world, because listen, our direction is download, don't listen, and you're listening to the podcast. I don't know if it gets any more clear than that. But the final point of personal news this week is that I've decided to become a supervillain. So, the rant that Cory had to hear this morning, or an hour ago.
It felt like it started
when it was still light. Yeah, I'm sure it did feel that long. It was still light outside when we started, so that must have been sometime between 6 and 8, depending on, I have no reference anymore. I left work at 5:30, and it looked like it was noon. And I was just like, I don't know what's going on right now. But I've decided to become a supervillain. I've also realized that with the stimulus, by the way, I can now survive 5 years in many tropical places. So I can have enough to live at my same level of living in the United States, only in somewhere tropical, like Belize, let's say, mm-hmm. for 5 years without working. So my plan is to find some developing country where maybe I can turn that 5 years into one, but I also live in a lair inside a volcano, perhaps. And
that sounds like it's cutting into the budget of the.
It's significant. Cutting 5 years down to one. Yeah. Obviously, the sharks with lasers on their heads. I don't know if that's going to be in the budget or not.
It's not it's not necessary at this moment, but eventually you're going to want that.
I would think so, and it's all about whether that the supervillainy brings a profit at some point.
I feel like sharks with lasers is a lot like whether or not you should form an LLC. You know it when it's right. The time will make itself evident to you.
Yeah, if you add up the books and you're just like, why am I spending so much? Why am I spending so much on sharks and lasers instead of just getting sharks and
I should
lasers?
really just be writing this off.
Nonetheless, I haven't decided exactly what my first act of supervillainy, and I say supervillain, and someone corrected me at work when I brought that up, and I said, you'll remember that not every villain who goes against superheroes is super. Lex Luthor is just a really smart guy.
Yeah.
And also rich.
See, but I feel like supervillain and villain is kind of like the model v supermodel discussion.
Sure,
I feel like there's I seem to remember the line used to be, if you made more than $1 million, you were a supermodel. I don't know if that bar has gone up with inflation.
Well, much like Dr. Evil, who held the world at ransom for $1 million.
Yes.
Perhaps that's a low bar now.
Yeah. Perhaps you have to be at like a $5 million range to be a supermodel these days, but I feel villainy much the same. Because like you can be a villain, but if you're only tormenting 2 people, then you're not a supervillain. You need to torment a wider swath of the population to get to the supervillain level.
So if one was to, develop a new virus into an aerosol and spray it in public so that people who stayed safely at home did not get infected.
Yeah.
And this virus can't be spread person to person. It's only at first infection. So literally millions die because they were too selfish to stay in their home and save the lives of their neighbors and friends.
Yeah.
Would that, at this point we're at 50% of the U.S. population is basically that. So 150 million dead, is that enough to be supervillain?
I think that qualifies. I would imagine the bar is a lot lower.
Okay, so I'm going to move to the tropics and become a supervillain. And you guys may not hear from me anymore. I have to come up with a cool supervillain name. I'm not Lex Luthor, which just is an evil-sounding name that you're born with. Unfortunately, my parents, Denzel maybe sounds a little more evil than, it's the Z sound and the X sound, I think.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. So I'll have to come up with
If you
something.
could get a K in there. K is not only the funniest letter, but also the evilest.
The evilest letter. So an X, a Z, and a K.
Yeah.
This sounds like the worst game of Scrabble ever. Like
Ezekiel.
Although Ezekiel is very biblical, maybe I could just get all the verses from Ezekiel about the end of the world tattooed on me. And then by
there
the
we
name
go.
Ezekiel. I feel like we're workshopping something. We're gonna have to get a little more. Anyway, point being, live in fear, because the era of my supervillainy is about to begin. And on that note, so if that sounded like it came out of a South Park script, it didn't. That's my real life. But
Professor Chaos.
with a K? Is it Chaos
No.
with a K? Okay.
No, it should have been though.
Yeah.
Should have been.
Yeah. So I feel like we should talk about. Cory turned me on last week to the fact that South Park wasn't back, but that they put out a new special. Their previous special was the pandemic special. Now they had the vaccination special, and this is based mostly on a unrecorded, unfortunately, rant I made about vaccines, which was repeated in large part just earlier today. And
it's been repeated every couple days for the last couple weeks.
Yet no one is fixing the problem. Strange. It's almost like
It's almost like Newsom's not listening to you.
Yeah.
I don't know what to.
Yeah, almost like that might cause him to get recalled. Anyway, that'll be later. So South Park, I just wanted to say I think everyone should watch it. For those of you who aren't on the edge of supervillainy, I think that it will be entertaining. For those of you who are on the edge of supervillainy, I'm sure there's something like the Justice League, but for supervillains. I'm happy to start, where we could just all start working together for that.
Yeah, like a Birds of Prey or something like that, or a Suicide Squad.
So, like, Suicide Squad is anti-heroes. Birds of Prey, kind of, but that was really about taking down Batman specifically, not like just supervillainy. It was like, we're going to take down the Batman.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of these supervillains end up against some sort of superhero.
Yes.
I mean, there's not a lot of just general villainy.
I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah,
it's just like there's a lot of doctors who specialize in things. Like you might be an oncologist or a podiatrist or something like that. There's no general supervillainy. I feel like there's a lot of specializations.
Yeah, Yeah, like your general internist is your everyday. I'm just a villain. I just you know, I steal thousands of dollars from poor people in a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
But
usual villainy.
Your oncologist, your viral oncologist is the guy who's you know, taking over the world.
That's the guy you should worry about.
Yeah. So two things. One, I'm going to be posting the teacher's rant on my Instagram story. So you can find out why, basically the short version of the rant that I gave Cory. It'll be on my Instagram story today as you're listening to this. But more than that, I have to say, I am sad at how much I enjoyed Little Cuties because they have ruined the letter Q now. You can't make anything Q, but I feel like if I could come up with a term about, like, you know, still the plans for the cult are still in process. I feel like supervillainy and cult aren't the same thing, but it's a Venn diagram of people that would overlap.
You and L. Ron Hubbard.
Exactly. Yes. Supervillainy and religion. So I feel like I would love to have.
I guess that's more of a David Miscavige thing, though.
I mean, I think both of
he wasn't.
Men.
I mean, Hubbard wasn't as much the villain as.
The guy who built a boat that went to international waters to escape law enforcement.
No. I'm not saying there wasn't some illegal activity going on. I'm just saying if we're extending to the reaches of villainy, which I think is a very specific type of evil.
Yeah.
I think Miscavige has that one over.
Right, bilking people out of millions, and then when they get to the highest level of the secrets, they learn
there's more secrets.
There's more secrets that involve a guy named Xenu and DC-9s that come across space. Now we're going to be blocked by Scientology. Oh no, I have to ride past there.
So what you don't know is that the comma changed everything for Scientology.
Rebuy $2,700 worth of books. But I recommend everybody watch it. My point being, it would be nice that the children's group of my cult could have been called Lil Cuties with a Q. That is so good. But now it's been ruined by South Park. So
South Park did it.
I was gonna say now I'm starting to live my life on the verge of, like, it's Simpsons did it, but South Park did it, and we may find that South Park had that before. But you know, Trey and Matt are the guys I don't want to be them.
My favorite part, I think, of the whole thing was just the people who were calling it, like, I just need a shot. You gotta give me my shot.
I 100% thought they were gonna go to, like, America's Got Talent or something, and like do a show with everybody. I'm like, oh God, please. But Trey and Matt.
I mean, your mom and I are no spring chickens, cop.
Trey and Matt are living the life that I want. Not so much the making a cartoon, although I imagine that is a really good life to have.
Not the insane work schedule. But.
Yes. But more generally, I think just the idea that, and I would say Adam Carolla in this as well, except for I fucking hate Adam Carolla. Just the fuck me money. Just you guys have an empire built around this cartoon, and what you do with it is take the angriest 20% of people on the internet and just turn them towards you and just be like, come at me, bro. Like, I mean, I do that and I don't even have fuck me money. Never in my best interest. I don't know. They're living the dream. I want that, to be able to just be like, I want to live my life only with less consequences. That's really what it is. I want to be rich enough to have much less consequences for my action.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Moving on.
Yes, yeah.
Just one last piece of COVID news here before we go.
We've solved it. Everybody has the vaccine. It's not going to be a problem anymore.
Well, we're about to get into Biden's big announcement, but part of it was that May 1st, all the states should start expanding the eligibility to everyone over 18.
Yes.
Was what Biden was basically going for. Garcetti immediately, with the cold water, saying LA is not going to be among the places that's going to be ready to go on May 1st, mostly because he foresees supply issues.
Yes.
With that.
And I believe I've been saying for months now that June, July is a more reasonable. And I know people are saying, like, May 1st, June 1st, not that big a deal. 300 people a day are dying. So 300 times 60. Let's do that math. 9,000? 9,000? That's 9,000 extra dead people that don't have to be dead because there's supply chain problems. Essentially, we've reached a point now where every person who dies is a life that didn't need to be lost. And as an unvaccinated person with autoimmune disease and a weakened immune system, I see myself straight in the crosshairs. Now, I don't care. As I told you earlier, I could have gotten COVID and died last April. I'm a nihilist. I think this is all a simulation. I really don't care. But the fact that I am now I'm in the crosshairs of a virus that could then put other people around me at risk is the thing that I continually hate.
Yeah.
And my life being lost is not, okay, who cares? But if somebody I know or somebody I come in contact with, people I care about, people who I don't hate.
Yeah.
There's a whole spectrum. I don't want any of them to get sick because of me, and here I am still unvaccinated. So, again, I could fly back to Maryland and get one, but then it's like I have to risk getting COVID to get the vaccine.
I mean, you could probably get it right now with health conditions.
No, not on the qualifying list.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
I checked. So, yeah. And again, watch the South Park special because it's like this list of people and only this list of people. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I mean, that basically comes down to who your government is, who you came into this whole situation with. And I will argue that while Garcetti and Newsom haven't done everything right, I will say they've been doing overall a better job than some.
Absolutely.
And Garcetti, for as infuriating as it is, also has been telling us the truth the whole time, which is a real kick in the pants. Because, back a year ago, when he was just like, guys, we might be dealing with this until
summer of
2021. And we were all like, fuck you, Eric. We're not.
Why are you such a wet blanket?
Yeah,
God.
It's gonna be over in like a week. Just chill out. No, he's been giving us the news we don't want to get. As opposed to Newsom has been trying not to give us the news we don't want to get, but still telling us eventually through like somebody associated with the governor's office has informed us of this might last longer than we thought.
One last callback to Pandemic Daddy.
Yeah.
Stimulus. What do we call him? Fuck.
Pandemic Daddy.
Was it Pandemic Daddy?
Yeah.
Of the list, we have Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
Facing a recall.
Right.
We have Andrew Cuomo.
Disgraced.
Hogan, who is day by day just becoming never Trumper more than anything else.
His is so weird though, because like last week Hogan opened up things as much as the individual counties wanted to.
Yes.
Which for a place like Baltimore City or Baltimore County didn't really change things that much week over week.
Guess where it changed.
But for places like where Rob's family lives, it opened up dramatically. Yes. So, I mean, I don't know what to do about that. I feel like Hogan should have tightened up a little bit. But that's we're all going to. Nobody's going to bat 1,000 throughout this whole thing. I think that's the lesson every governor should come out of pandemic with. There was no way to get every decision right.
I will say, though, that out of all of that, Garcetti has told us the truth, the ugly truth the whole time. And when asked about keeping the mask mandate in L.A., despite the fact that it was not going to be there, gave a rational answer that there are parts of L.A. that are not part of L.A. So does it make sense that west of Cahuenga, you don't have to wear a mask, but east of Cahuenga, you do have to wait, or Highland. East of Highland, you have to wear a mask. West of Highland, you don't. LA is not a city where it makes sense to do that unless you get everybody on board.
Right.
If you can go to West Hollywood or Beverly Hills or Burbank or any of these places and the rules are different, it only causes more confusion, which, by the way, is the opposite of what I think, but points in his favor because he's right. The last thing I want is more confusion about like walking on the street. I'm like, all right, so remember, when we get to Highland, we got to put the mask on.
Yeah.
We're already at the point where when you are walking down Hollywood Boulevard, there's a point at which you can stop smoking. You have to stop smoking in public. Where is that place? You and I could not tell the difference. But I bet you a cop would.
Yeah.
I bet you a cop would know for that $250 ticket.
Yeah. I mean, did you hear about West Hollywood smoking?
Oh, God. No.
Oh, it's so... We're going to have to... I'm going to have to spend some time on this one. We're not going to get into it right now, but it's fucking crazy. I'm just going to...
Yeah. So you're right. It's not Hollywood Boulevard. It's really in Burbank, because Burbank downtown you can't smoke.
Right.
Burbank outside of downtown you can.
Yeah.
But they're literally walking past. We could just be walking, and that street intersects the downtown
Right.
at some point, where it's like, oh, for the next 3 blocks I can't smoke, but then after that I can again. Like,
yeah.
Okay. All the sense in the world. Sure. Absolutely. Not confusing at all. Thanks. Yeah. That's good.
Also, they have those same rules in Beverly Hills,
Yes.
but it seems to they seem to know who to pick on with
Weird.
those.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the people in the nice suits who are smoking get a, excuse me, sir, you can't do that here.
Mm-hmm.
When you're done with that cigarette, put
No
it
more.
out and don't do another one.
Yes.
It's just like, oh, thank you, officer.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the the people who are like, designing tennis shoes or something like that and don't have the same complexion of
I was gonna
the
say,
gentleman in the suit
suit.
will get the nth degree. You didn't hear that one?
No, yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Just that what do those folks have in common? The guys in the suits versus the guys designing shoes. So what you're telling me, Corey, is they want the shoes in the stores. They just don't want the shoe designers on the street. Is that what you're saying? Oh,
right.
Okay, fair enough. All right, yeah.
Because it rustles the sensibilities of the people who are shopping. You can't.
Oh, America.
Anywho,
I'm just saying, embrace supervillainy. I mean, maybe it's time.
it's not all bad.
What do you say?
Moving on.
Maybe it's not all bad. Here we go.
Moving on. It's Stimmy time.
Hey.
Who among us won't enjoy a little bit of Stimmy here and there? Biden had his big primetime address to announce announce everything that came with the American Rescue Act.
Found a way to sign it right before. Real weird.
Yeah. And then made the declaration that by May 1st, he wants all states to open up to 18 plus, regardless of where they are in the process.
And I know this is an audio format, but I want everyone to picture that little asterisk, just like from Blackish, popping up on the screen. Like, everyone will have it by May 1st. Bink.
Maybe. I mean,
Supplies may vary.
it's really tough to say at what point everyone will be vaccinated. I will say this, just in defense of what has been going on the last 2 months here. Biden has gotten past the 100 million vaccination point, which is something that he had hoped to achieve within 100 days.
Right. Yeah.
It was only 3 weeks ago that we were at the 50 million, or a month ago, something like that. We were at 50 million. So, things are getting going quicker.
Yes.
I wonder at what point, because there were statements from him before saying end of May, June, we would have enough vaccines for anyone who wants one to get one. So I think it'll be interesting to see how those things line up and where, how long it takes for somebody to get vaccinated, or, for a group of people to get vaccinated. So LA County, for instance, got 300,000 people vaccinated last week.
Right.
That seems like a healthy number. Seems like a healthy number.
Yeah.
Is that a sustainable number that can be done across the country?
Yeah.
Is that something that can be, these are the questions that determine at what point after May 1st we actually get to the point where everyone over 18 is vaccinated, or enough so that
to be fair, it doesn't have to be those numbers. All it really has to be is the equivalent of those numbers. Because if you hit that number in South Dakota for 3 weeks, that's everybody in the state.
Yeah.
Hey, we're good.
Right.
But if we just hit a proportional amount of that number, that's really all that matters. Just like, also, if we could hit that number in LA, that would also be great. I just don't think we're actually going to do that. I think that there was a press to make a good impression over a whatever period of time, probably leading up to the stimulus. But then after that, we're just going to let it go. I
mean, I think there's no reason to try and make it take longer than it has to. The benefit of getting it out quickly and getting a mass number of people vaccinated as quickly as humanly possible is all about just trying to put that, get back to normal feeling in people's heads, you know?
But there is a cost associated with keeping that rate of vaccination. And is the cost worth it? Are they going to continue to pay the money that's required in order to keep that pace, or do they just
Well,
listen,
I mean, the American Rescue Plan was designed to do just that. That's what it's designed to give money to the states in order so that they can create the vaccination programs that will allow people to get vaccinated as quickly as humanly
just
possible.
like that. I found the flaw in the plan.
Leaving it to the states.
Leaving it to the fucking states. Clearly, nobody knows what they're doing. But as part of that, the only thing I had to say about the stimulus is I didn't get my $600. I'm not going to get my $1,400. I will get a stimulus at some point in probably June when my stimulus is refunded from the company that I did my taxes with last year back to the federal government and then comes to me through the company that I choose to do this year. Unless I choose the same company, but I don't think I am.
Yeah.
Because I have a company I can do it through for free this year, like last year when I did it for free through another company. So, I won't get any interest on that. I'll get it eventually. Luckily, I'm not starving to death or about to get kicked out of my apartment, because if that were the case, it would be much more difficult.
Yeah.
But okay. So the other thing I hate about the stimulus is that there are grown people, perhaps a man who's 37 years old, who you've been friends with for like an adult period of time, like 18 years, who starts using words like Stimmy. And
listen, trying to hit the SEO here, baby. There are so many grown people on my Instagram, my Facebook, who since Mandalorian came out, and then it's like pictures of little baby Yoda, and then we're gonna talk like babies, and now they started talking about chicken nuggies and stimmies, and yes, Roberto, that's exactly my reaction. You guys can't see Roberto, but he's shaking his head, and it drives me insane. You'd be able to see it if you didn't cover up the webcam.
I know. He's so paranoid. But I said, well, stimulus is coming, so you'll be able to take that vacation or something. Like somebody was talking about, we wanted to go away for the weekend, but not everybody had the money to go. I'm like, stimulus is coming. And they said, you mean the Stimmy? And I said, no. The stimulus check that is going to be signed by the grown man that lives in the White House. Actually, it's not. It's signed by the Treasury Secretary.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, because, by the way, checks won't be delayed because they need to be signed by the guy in the White House. Good news. Signed by the Treasury Secretary, who's also a grown man, who is, I believe, in his 60s, authorized by a grown man who's in his 70s, to this grown man who's in his late 30s. And all that entire time, it was a stimulus check. Now, when it enters your bank account and you decide to spend it on chicky nuggies, then perhaps it's a stimmy. But to me, it will be a stimulus, and it remains a stimulus. But again, we are slaves to the SEO, so stimulus it is. Speaking of grown folks and grown folk shit, just quickly, Deb Haaland is a name that means nothing to any of you, and that's okay. It doesn't have to mean anything to you, because it's going to mean a lot to about 12 million people. Deb Haaland was the first Native American or First Nations member of First Nations who was elected to Congress. And that was a huge, huge thing. And you're probably saying to yourself, wow, what was that? Like 1910? But then you're like, Deb, that's a woman's name. So maybe it was in the 60s or something. Oh, no. That was in 2016. She won her seat to Congress. First Nations member, Native American, to go into Congress. Well, now she has the privileged position of having been confirmed by the Senate to the Department of the Interior. And that's important. Why, Cory?
Because of the Office of Indian Affairs.
And you might say to yourself, Cory, that doesn't seem very PC. And we would say,
that's what it's called. I don't know.
It's actually called that. It's 2021, and it is called the Department of Indian Affairs. And they have Chief Wahoo as the logo. It's so racist. No, okay, that part's not true. But so Deb Haaland is now the first.
All right, they'll be the spiders soon enough.
Deb Haaland is the first First Nations member, the first Native American, to head up the Department of the Interior since its founding. Now, there is arguably a founding that could go all the way back to the British Protectorate of the Colonies, where they had a Department of the Interior, which followed and was covering two things: wildlands, which were areas controlled by the Crown in the New World, and Indian affairs. It has literally only covered that thing forever. And then wildlands became like territories and then got added to the, once Teddy Roosevelt got in office, the
Parks Department.
Got added in. But essentially, Indian Affairs is all they have ever been responsible
Though
for.
the Interior is still, the Park Department is inside of Interior, right?
Yeah. It's just they keep adding departments in.
Right.
Much like Homeland Security, just absorbing stuff and bringing it in.
Like Space Force.
Yes.
That's DOD, though.
Maybe that's my route to supervillainy. Join the Space Force. And then mutiny. And we take over.
A space mutiny.
Do a space mutiny.
I just like to see you like slowly spinning within the zero gravity of the space station, just going like mutiny.
I don't know why I just think of Matt Damon.
Attica.
I think Matt Damon from The Martian, where he's like, guys, I want you to be clear with this. That what's the word? The M word for water.
Moisture?
No, it's a law that covers the oceans. Maritime.
Oh, yeah.
Space is covered by maritime law, and I am occupying a vehicle that is not controlled by me and therefore taking ownership of it. Technically, that makes me a space pirate. I kind of want to be a space pirate. Maybe I should join Space Force. But the point is, Deb Haaland, in its 230-year history or so, she's the first Native American First Nations member who is heading the department, whose at times sole authority was Indian Affairs, which is sad, but also great. Fantastic that we are finally putting someone who has lived under the control of the department in charge of the department. And listen, I am under no false belief that something will change. Meet the old boss, same as the new boss. Biden is the same as Trump. Trump was the same as Obama. Obama was the same as Bush. These are all the same people. Mm-hmm. If you think Joe Biden is a leftist, you may not be paying attention, because I've seen no evidence of that thus far. But good for progress, even if it is only symbolic. I'll still take it, even if it's only symbolic. So, and speaking of the ex-president, speaking of the 45th president, because as you know, he is now the holder of the office of the 45th president, which is not a thing, but it's also, the office of the president-elect, also not a thing. Obama made that up.
Right.
And now everybody does it. So apparently if you're president, you can just make stuff up all the time. So he is now facing a bit of trouble.
Yeah, we were wondering at what point the indictments might start coming for Trump. Brooks, I swear you like turning that light on so much.
Well, as we know, there was already an indictment, Corey. He was indicted by Congress.
Well, yes. I ain't gonna worry about it no more.
He's licking the pole. It's literally there's no win.
Apparently, Michael Cohen has met with the Southern District of New York several times in the last couple weeks.
Now, as a reminder, who's Michael Cohen?
Michael Cohen was the personal attorney for Trump, the one who facilitated the payment to Stormy Daniels for covering up of the sex with Trump.
Oh, he's the one that you would not want to see a movie about, because it's basically about a snitch the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the very awful version of Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, the only thing redeeming about that movie to Corey is that it was about black people.
Judas and the Orange Messiah.
Oh my God. Can we please? Can we shoot that as a short?
Can we just make a short of that?
Oh my God. Patent pending. Judas and the Orange Messiah. Now, is that cultural appropriation, or is that just like...
I think it's wrong in many ways.
Yes, yeah.
But I think we could figure out a way to make it.
You remember what I said about wanting to be Matt and Trey and like, turning vast majority of the internet
everyone
against...
angry at us? Yeah. I'm sure calling him the Orange Messiah is number one on the list of things that people are going to object to.
Yes, I'm sure it will be.
Won't be the end of the list, but will certainly be on the list.
All right, so Michael Cohen, who is a rat who ratted out a whole bunch of people in the administration, is now meeting with the New York FBI office, assumedly, or the attorney.
Yeah, Southern District
Attorney, which could only mean one day.
Well, I mean, he already pled guilty to his part of the whole thing. If you remember correctly, there was somebody who wasn't named in the indictment.
Undefamed co-defendant number 1.
Individual 1.
Individual 1. That's it. Yes.
And there was some question as to who individual 1 might be, but seeing as somewhere along in the charging document it said individual 1 goes on to be named president of the United States, it rounds down the list of who it could potentially be.
Ford? Is it Ford? Wait.
I knew they'd get Reagan eventually. I knew it.
Okay, Jimmy Carter. We've been just waiting for that shoe
That
to drop.
peanut farm. I knew it was trouble. I knew it was fucking trouble. But no, the amount of things that seem to be gathering towards the Trump might be indicted this week seems to be growing. So I thought I'd at least put it out there in the universe that maybe we might be talking about it next week. Trump under arrest. Trump in the perp walk.
I don't know why. That fucking peanut farm. I knew it.
Here's the question: if you are, can Ron DeSantis block the what's the thing when somebody tries to get somebody from a foreign country?
Oh, warrant? It's just warrant. Yeah.
No. The extradite.
Extradition. Yeah.
Will DeSantis allow the extradition to New York? That's the question here.
So, it doesn't matter because jurisdiction amongst federal courts is uniform. So essentially, if he wouldn't come to New York, they can just transfer the documents to Florida and just charge him there and then just go get him. So
sometimes I felt like the hanging out in Florida was a strategic decision for Trump.
It absolutely might be because, again, in the end, here's the flaw of it. It's the Andrew Jackson argument of government. The Supreme Court passed some law, and Andrew Jackson said, well, if the court wants it, the court can go enforce it. And the FBI is theoretically the police arm of the court, of the Southern District of New York's office and everything, the federal district court. But in the end, the likelihood that they go pick him up is low. It would likely just be like, show up, or we're going to send the sheriff out. Yeah. And the sheriff
might be a hard get.
In southern Florida, I can't imagine that a guy in southern Florida who's in law enforcement seems like a real lefty, if you ask me. That's probably a guy who really loves his greens and his maybe calls it communist, if you will. Yeah. So it's the kind of thing where you got to just say we're gonna figure this out one way or another. My guess is if you start taking his property in New York, he's going to show up. We're actually going to just take this entire building. So change the locks.
We're just going to change the name on the outside of this building to FBI Tower. I hope you don't.
Actually, you might not even have to do anything judicial. Just have somebody go change the sign. And next thing you know, Trump's in New York like, the fuck is this? And then he's under arrest. So
what happened here? It was so beautiful. And now it's ugly. Because everything is ugly or beautiful to Trump.
Yes, so. He's very much a duality. So we'll look for the indictment coming. And I mean, we really should have reordered this because we were talking about the president giving a speech and our president of the People's Republic of California. Yeah. I also want to point out too, my friends in Maryland who call California the People's Republic of California. You have a vaccine, and here I am without one. So, yeah. Super lefty green California. Anyway,
Newsom,
the commandant. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He had his annual State of the State address, much like the State of the Union, only for the state of California. And the common refrain going into the speech was, "This is the moment of Gavin Newsom's political life. If he's going to beat back the recall, which at this point appears to have enough votes to go onto the ballot."
Yes. Apparently, they have 4 times as many signatures as they need, but there was always a weaning of signatures down or something.
It wasn't quite like 4 times. It was more than what was required. Mm-hmm. But then the question is,
how many
people from Arizona signed on to recall Gavin Newsom, and how many of those are going to be thrown out?
And so there's a calculation they use, and I say 4 times, but really it's like 1.75 the signatures is what you need because we're going to take away, a 70.75 of them.
30% of them are just gone immediately.
Yes.
So
So you need
you
to
better have a little
over
bit of
that.
a buffer.
But apparently they've reached that point, and it could be bad
Yeah.
for the governor. And I would just mention that given all other things being equal, I think John Cox would have been a better governor. I'm just saying. Couldn't get much worse if you're me. So
So in Newsom's defense of himself, he says that California is now 6th in terms of vaccinations in the world, which is ahead of much like we hear this all the time where it's just like America's the number 1 economy in the world and California all by itself is
8th.
Yeah, 8th.
Yep.
We're doing the same sort of thing with vaccinations. At the end of the day, I think Newsom's biggest crime is the fact that he doesn't know how to. I can give somebody numbers and they can come up with a great plan and not be able to execute it at all, or not be able to get people behind the plan because they're all about the numbers. Newsom, while not some like brainiac, is very devoted to the numbers, you know?
In the new Saved by the Bell, Zach gets himself elected governor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not too far away from, that's not really, it's really, we have Zach as the governor right now. He's a good looking guy who looks good in a suit. And if you listen casually, sounds really good.
Yeah.
But if you really listen to what he has to say, then you're like, is he just throwing Screech under the bus? I don't really understand.
It's Newsom in particular, it's hard because he's just not good at being a public speaker or expressing himself in any kind of meaningful way. And it's you can see it moving, but you can see that he doesn't know how it works though at the same time.
Yeah.
So like the State of the State address happened at Dodger Stadium. And you know, all the seats were empty behind him and stuff like that. He's just got a podium in the outfield.
Oh, I thought he was on the pitcher's mound. Was he in the outfield?
No, he's like in center field.
Okay.
They built a little dais and stuff like that. And his point in doing it in Dodger Stadium was, you know, there's 54,000 people who've died of COVID in the state of California, roughly the same amount as the number of empty seats behind me.
Yes.
And, you know, it could have been I don't want to use the word powerful, but it could have been a powerful moment to to express like the loss that has happened. But it never seems like he's he's grasped it as like a concept of like people
he
dead.
Looks
it's
fake
like
as shit. Everything is fucking fake. Yes. Yeah.
It's so tough to. It's like I'm glad I don't live in a place like South Dakota where they're just like, go fuck yourself, figure it out. But at the same time, I wish Newsom was just better at this. And it's the same thing we've been talking about with O'Malley forever. It's just like eventually this just catches up to you. Like you can be a by the numbers guy, but if you don't have anything that gets people inspired to get behind you, then there's nothing you can do. The O'Malley presidential campaign was a perfect indicament of a perfect example of this because, you know, he had a lot of progressive plans, not quite Bernie progressive, but more so than Hillary. Like he was finding a nice middle ground in the progressive
2020 might have been a really good year for the O'Malley.
Yeah, if he would have not done it in 2016 and held out to 2020.
Yes.
But the problem is, at a certain point, if you want to win a presidential election, you got to go to you got to go to Iowa, and you just got to convince 200 people to show up at a gym and hear you talk.
Yeah.
And if nobody's interested in doing that much, then you don't really have a chance of winning at all. Like it's like the bare minimum of entry to a degree.
The O'Malley problem is that the plan sounds great and everything seems like it makes sense. But again, like Newsom, he didn't understand it well enough to explain it simply enough that 200 people at a gymnasium will walk into the classroom that has his name on it. There are people I know who are sitting there like, this all sounds good. And I don't trust things that just sound good and don't seem to make sense. Because that's what the snake oil salesmen do. And funny thing, O'Malley and Newsom both been compared to snake oil salesmen.
Yeah.
And maybe aptly, because in the end, it comes down to the fact that you need to be able... The reason I liked... I almost called him Buttafuoco. I have a girl who works for me whose last name is Buttafuoco. That's not his name.
Related?
No, not related. Although she was like, how the hell do you know how to spell that? I'm like, because I was alive in the 90s. I know who that is.
Do you not know?
No, she did. She was just like, nobody else knows who that is. I'm like,
okay.
Oh, okay. So you have the name, so you know, but like, I know because I was alive in 94. So, I saw it on TV a lot. I know how to spell it. Anyway, that's not his name. Mayor of South Bend, now transportation. Buttigieg.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Close though, right? That's not too far.
Yeah.
The reason I like Buttigieg is because for me, do we call ourselves political? A couple episodes ago, wonks. We're kind of wonky in that way. Yeah. And he walked this fine line between I am going to explain this to you, maybe a half step beyond the average person, but just close enough that the average person's like, I bet you I would understand that if I knew more. And that is that sometimes that works well, sometimes it doesn't. And if it turns out you're a centrist and there's just a really popular old centrist, you're not gonna be good at that.
I think I came up with the perfect analogy here.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So it's kind of like the different types of Coke you can purchase.
Peruvian, Colombian.
No, not like that. Like Coca-Cola.
Oh, okay. All right, my fault.
So
we've lived different lives, Cory.
Regular Coke, just like Coca-Cola Classic, is kind of like a Cuomo. Like it's hard edge. It's 100%. It's there's no half measure in this. It's just the full Monty of Coke.
And eventually we find out it raped several women.
Eventually you find out that it gropes people. And it makes you uncomfortable, and you're just like, not Coke. Why? That's the one I like the most.
Sounds a little like Joe Biden. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Whereas like Newsom and O'Malley are kind of like Diet Coke.
Okay.
It's just like, it's kind of like Coke, but it's boring and not at all like Coke at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just makes you want a Coke as opposed to like you're happy that you're with a healthier option, but at the same time you really just want the Coke instead.
Yep.
Pete was kind of like the Coke Zero.
Okay.
Where it's just like the Coke taste, but all the health savings of the Diet Coke, like.
But in times of crisis, you go to what you know. You go to your Joe Bidens, your Coke Classics.
Yeah.
And then we had Sanders, who's Tab. Just nothing like what you're used to.
Sanders is good water. It's just it's clean out the spigot. You don't even need to worry about it after that. It's just good.
Maybe that works in Vermont. That doesn't play everywhere in the country. Some places don't have. Flint doesn't want to hear your example about tap water and how it's good.
Listen, I had nothing to do with that.
I sent bottles of water. It's fine, right?
I think how my Bernie is a little restrained, and your Bernie is kind of like Nixon.
Yeah, no, I try to walk that fine line. I'm like, if Nixon was a Jewish, that's basically, I go for Jewish Nixon. I'm like, Larry David doing an impression of Nixon. That's what I'm aiming for.
Yeah.
I do think yours is closer, but I like crazy hair. I'm going nuts, Bernie, way more than I do calm at the debates, Bernie. So
fair enough.
But it's not Flint, Michigan, but another place where poor black people are abused a lot. Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yes.
And not to make a hard transition, but again, try not to run for 2 hours. Sorry, guys. We go back to Minneapolis for literally the only reason the major news networks go back to Minneapolis. The George Floyd case had the development. So
Derek Chauvin case.
Well, I'm sorry. Yes, now the Derek Chauvin case. I prefer to keep in mind the victim, not the perpetrator.
Yeah.
I don't like to say his name because fuck him. And that is unless I will like say his name if you let me kneel on his neck for 8 minutes and 27 seconds. Then I'll say his name all day.
Yeah.
Mostly it'll be at the end of the phrase of "fuck you, Derek Chauvin."
Yeah.
As I kneel on his neck. But anyway. We're going back there, not because of the trial. Last week we talked about the trial being delayed, jury selection being delayed, but for a different reason this week.
Yes. The city of Minneapolis has come together with the family of George Floyd to settle his death to the tune of $27 million.
$27 million.
The largest such settlement of this kind.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, right, I'm not telling not saying anything that I don't think most people don't already know when they hear that the settlement was $27 million, but Chauvin is going to find some ways to not be guilty at the end of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Whether it's a mistrial, whether or not it's, not enough evidence to convict, whatever it ends up being, $27 million is a sorry this is about to happen kind of settlement. And
well, I mean, I heard that there was a call between the district attorney in Minneapolis and the state's attorney in Baltimore, basically saying, how do we put on a good show? So it looks like we're trying to convict these guys, but we're not actually going to convict. How did you guys fuck it up so royally that you got not a single conviction of the 6 people who on video murdered a guy?
Here's the secret. You just go to court with whatever the police gave you, and it will be wrong. It'll just be filled with inaccuracies and rife with inconsistencies. And at some point, the judge is going to look at you and say, this doesn't make any sense. And you're going to say, this is what the police provided for us. He's going to be like, well, that's not good enough for me. Why didn't you do your own work? Just like, well, the police are supposed to do that work.
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, how long are we going to keep doing this? How many trials are we going to have before you just give up? Can we just fast forward to that point? Can I just give a bunch of not guilties until he gets to that point?
Or mistrials.
Yeah, or mistrials. What point do you give up?
Yeah. And then about 3 weeks after the last trial, she's going to come in presenting very flawed evidence that was brought together by the police. And the judge is going to say, this is absolutely 100% convincing. I don't know how you could get a more airtight case. Convicted. I don't care what evidence the defense is even going to put up. This guy is guilty.
Yeah.
Because that's how the system works. When you put cops on trial, the bar is Jesus himself is on the stand, and the judge is going to look at him and be like, I don't know. I just know long-haired brown people don't generally tell the truth. I don't know what to say. But you have a long-haired brown guy on trial, and all of a sudden it's like cop is...
If this man was literally Jesus, he'd be blonde right now.
I guess depending what church you walk into, that could absolutely be true. Well, maybe not blonde, but like a nice dirty brown.
Sandy.
Like a dirty brown.
Yeah,
Also, where's the abs? I just expected like a six-pack with a V. You're looking real dad bod for me right now. I don't really know. But funny, sad, 27 million, very much a sorry this is about to happen to you. Also, the attorney for Derek Chauvin immediately went into court and said, we need a mistrial and a change of venue because the city has essentially established the guilt of the city while he is trying to prove that he is not guilty. And the suggested venue was in western and or far northeastern Minnesota, which would put it squarely in what some might call Trump country.
Yeah.
As a note, the western peninsula of Michigan and the northeastern portion of Minnesota touch. And the western peninsula of Michigan is where the guys who were going to kidnap the governor of Michigan were going to take her.
It's heavy militia zone. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you think that an invisible line in the woods between western Michigan and northeastern Minnesota really changes anything, I mean, I did say Americans were the dumbest people in the world, so maybe you think that. I don't know what to tell you. And just something I want to keep on everyone's radar coming to the summer. Senator Cruz, who is a popular topic of conversation for us, has decided...
Ted Cruz!
Can you do fuck the military in that voice?
Well, I said fuck the military!
Okay, see... I was just waiting to see. So he apparently is taking on the United States military.
Yeah.
Because he is upset that they responded positively to a negative campaign run by Tucker Carlson and his people about a campaign that the military had previously run with pregnant servicemen in it. And essentially what they responded is, in the Defense Authorization Act, which, by the way, they're just pushing also for more money in the Defense Authorization Act to say, look at the good stuff we're doing. It's like we're doing more maternity wards and we're being more accepting of pregnant service people, because they also realize if a woman gets pregnant and she's a lieutenant pilot and she leaves the military, because she can't have a healthy baby in the military, you lose a pilot.
Yeah, you lose an asset.
And maybe it's better to just let the people have their lives outside, and then also when she gets done having the baby, she can also come back and fly the plane.
Yeah.
The first step towards, paternity leave, where the dad could also take a little time off work to spend with the child. Anyway, Tucker Carlson, very offended by the fact that they would put pregnant women in. The military says, well, we enjoy pregnant servicemen. We want to push forward, or service people, I guess.
Yes.
We want to push that forward. And Cruz, very upset about that. Apparently, he takes the position of Tucker Carlson in that pregnant women belong in only one place, barefoot and in the kitchen. So he is calling for Senate hearings. The last time the military was called to task by a senator, actually was by a congressman at that point, but was Joe McCarthy. And you may know the name Joe McCarthy and be like, oh no, this could go badly. You're thinking of Red Scare Joe McCarthy, like Blacklist Joe McCarthy. Mm-hmm. That was followed by the Army McCarthy hearings, where the person very famously said, "Sir, have you no decency?" And shortly thereafter, the career of McCarthy just plummeted like a bomber out of the sky. And I shouldn't use that example because McCarthy, like Tucker Carlson, didn't serve in the military. Also, like Trump and
Cruz,
everybody, all of those people, none of them served. And basically anyone who talks shit about the military never served. Funny how that works. Also, people who vote for war.
Yeah.
Never have children in the military, never serve themselves. It's a funny way that works. But nonetheless, I am hoping, fingers crossed, for that hearing in the summer so we can just see the plummeting, fiery ball of Ted Cruz's career slam into a mountain somewhere. So it'd be nice. And speaking of tragedy and balls of flame plummeting into a mountain, Oscar announcements came out today.
I don't see how that's a...
Well, because I mean this, I understand that wanting to work in this industry and living in LA and wanting to be in entertainment, I should care a lot more. But I will point to the fact that I mentioned earlier, which is at 300 deaths a day for the next 90 days, we are looking at, or 60 days, we are looking at 9,000 additional dead. So that means between now, when the Oscars are announced, and the date of the socially distanced Oscars awards, 9,000 people or more, probably more, will be dead that are unnecessarily dead, along with the 520,000 that are already dead, and probably on top of another, arguably 15 or 20,000 that didn't need to die had the vaccine rolled out. And so it's really hard to get invested in things when it's so superfluous.
I get that, and I think that it's not about saying that this matters more than other things, but it's much like when this time last year, baseball was canceled, and then there was many months where baseball didn't happen until eventually it could come back and happen. Baseball wasn't important. It's not like it's the most important thing that happens. Mm-hmm. But for me, for many other people who are looking for something to distract ourselves from really awful news that's happening, it's a means to allow some form of joy in a life that was robbed of a lot of it. And
I would argue,
I think that a celebration of movies, even if it is in a weird year like this where there wasn't people going to the theaters or like arguably even really like some big huge movie that reigns supreme over all the rest.
I mean, I haven't seen half these movies either. So
let's just go through.
Well, I just wanted to point out though that the summer of 2020, when everyone didn't have sports to be distracted or big movies or going to the movies or going out, we had the summer uprising where we were demanding for the very first time with one voice, literally everyone left of, I don't know, Trump, basically.
Yeah.
We need to do something about change. And then as soon as they were like, oh shit, this is about to hit a critical mass, they're like, let's open up restaurants again. Let's let people go do stuff. And then the valve was just released and bled off. So maybe it would be good to not have sports, to not have movies, to not focus on these things. So we start looking. And listen, I am also a person who runs Netflix in the background as soon as I get home. Turn on the TV, turn something on, because God help me if I'm left alone with my thoughts. This is not even me alone with my thoughts. This is just me talking. Like, imagine what my brain is like when there's no noise around. I get it. But maybe it would be good for our society to just have none of that again and either decide to burn it all down and start over again or become accepting of the situation as it is. without the distraction of something else taking our attention away.
So, the pictures that are nominated for Best Picture. Sound of Metal, Mank, Minari, Promising Young Woman, apologies. The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, The Trial of the Chicago 7, and Nomadland. Was there anything that you saw this past year that made you say that was robbed, or that you feel like, I know there's a lot of these movies that neither one of us have been able to see.
Oh, no. I'm thinking back, and it's weird because it's been a weird year. I mean, I feel like at some point during the pandemic, I saw Avengers Endgame, Avatar, Titanic. How long have we been in quarantine? I don't remember.
Years, but...
Yeah, but I feel like all of those were very deserving of nomination, and they didn't get nominated.
Unfortunately, for whatever reason, they weren't available for this year. So.
Okay, fair enough. No. I mean, listen, if I was to make a list, unfortunately, it would kind of come out of like fall movies, which is why they release things like that in the fall.
Yeah.
My list would include Trial of the Chicago 7. It would include Judas and the Black Messiah. And the second film on that list, which was...
Mank?
Mank, yes. Those three, I've seen probably 5 of that list. Those 3 were probably on my, like... hopefully they're nominated list. I was a little worried it was going to be Trial of the Chicago 7 or Judas and the Black Messiah. Like, listen... One movie, you guys get one. We're not going to give you both of them, just get one. So I'm happy that both of those are. The other movies, listen, Nomadland, I want to see. We're talking about that being the first movie we see back in the theater. A Promising Young Woman. I feel like I saw something for that. I don't even know where that is. Where is that?
I don't know offhand. I haven't seen that one either. I know The Father was one that was like released at Sundance and maybe just now is coming out on some sort of streaming service.
We got to start getting screeners. Otherwise, we're never going to see all these movies.
I personally didn't like Judas and the Black Messiah to the idea that it'd be nominated for Best Picture.
Racist. Right?
I really enjoyed parts of that movie, but then I also have philosophical flaws with it too. Mm-hmm. For one, even though Lakeith Stanfield is an incredibly gifted actor and did a wonderful job in the movie, I hated his character from the fucking minute I saw him. Well, and I didn't like the whole, like, hey, let's make this guy, like, this cool, like, totally...
I thought it was weird that you suggested that Tom Hanks be the one who has Lakeith Stanfield's role. Not the suggestion I really would have thought, but, I mean, it makes sense,
Not the suggestion I made either. Rob's just putting...
Also, the other actor that Cory can't stand and wouldn't want to see nominated...
It would have gone more for the I hate this character though.
I mean, actually, it might have made sense. But you know what? I do hate this character. I hate him a lot.
I will say this. Just going through the top line awards here, mm-hmm. There's a lot of groundbreaking nominations here.
Well, so I was gonna say we don't even need to go through Best Supporting Actor because that is Best Actor. That's all wrapped up.
I don't know. I think
who's nominated in that? There's
Chadwick's nominated,
and there you go. That's gonna be the person who wins it. I don't care who you are. That's gonna be the Heath Ledger Award, where it's like this guy's been doing great film and he's never really gotten nominated for anything. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna give it to him because it's our last chance to do it. Was the Joker Heath's best character ever?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you know what? Because I forgot that he wasn't nominated for Best Supporting. I thought he might have. And
they moved both Lakeith and Daniel Kaluuya down to support. Kaluuya down to supporting actor. Whatever. That dude did a fake Jamaican accent on the I almost said the Grammys. Golden Globes. Anyway, not important. Important thing is they took like everybody from that movie essentially and bumped them down to supporting actor roles. The guy who was playing
it actually they were nominated in both categories, or like allowed to be nominated in both categories. It's where you get the most votes that is where you end up. So
again, I feel like
people decided that they wanted both of them as supporting as opposed to.
Because I feel like they were like, so Chadwick's gonna win this Best Actor, right? Okay, so let's put these guys against each other in the supporting category.
Yeah, I mean,
Who else is in that? Who else is nominated for Best Actor?
Anthony Hopkins in The Father.
Yep.
Riz Ahmed from Sound of Metal. Stephen Yeun from Minari. And Gary Oldman from Mank.
Okay.
Now,
Gary Oldman.
Oldman got his a couple years ago, so he's out.
Hopkins?
Hopkins, I would imagine, is out too. I don't know how.
I think 3 times.
How important his work in The Father is. I haven't seen it.
3-time Oscar winner Anthony Hopkins can wait to his next appearance. Yeah, definitely. 2. Didn't he have a supporting actor and 2 Best Actors?
No, I think he only had the one supporting for Silence of the Lambs.
I think he's won again. He's won again for something else.
Oh.
Anyway, even one though. How many does Chadwick have? And how many movies does he have left?
None.
So.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I get it. I get where that's coming from. I'm saying, regardless of whether or not Chadwick is in the nomination here, I'm saying it's a big year because our first Muslim Pakistani actor in Riz Ahmed was nominated. Stephen Yeun, the first Asian male actor.
1 apparently. Anthony Hopkins only has 1.
Yeah, just for Silence of the Lambs.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a shame. That's like a Leo. I mean, he got his earlier, I guess, but like 1 time?
Yeah.
That guy's been in some good movies. Also, to my argument further, Riz Ahmed, is it Riz Ahmed?
Yeah.
Riz Ahmed has a long career of really great roles in front of him. I loved The Sound of Metal. I think that he is going to do amazing things. I am fully confident he'll be nominated again.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's part of the who has the best acting of the year and who wins the award is not necessarily is Simpatica. I mean, like, I imagine, just going over to Best Actress, Frances McDormand or Viola Davis are sort of the leaders in the clubhouse going in.
Yep.
I was in love with Andra Day's performance in The United States vs. Billie Holiday. And
I still haven't watched that. That's on my list.
That one's really good.
Yeah.
That one will get you fucking. You wanna know how to do a fucking shitty character just the right way?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking United States vs. Billie Holiday. Watch the director of the Bureau of Narcotics.
Okay.
The entire movie, and you're just like, oh, this guy's fucking awful. And they made the guy fucking awful. The character is fucking awful. Anytime he walks in the room, you're just like, I hate your face.
Like Hoover in any movie he's in now.
Exactly.
I just fucking hate him. Like, wait, who is this? Is this supposed to be Hoover? Because I hate him and I don't know why. Like, it's Hoover.
Fuck you, Martin Sheen.
Yeah, by the way, you made me hate Martin Sheen. That's how it is.
I would throw a vote for Andra Day. I really thought that was she did really well in that movie. I mean, honestly though, I think just one other one. We finally have 2 women nominated for Best Director.
Wow.
Hey, incredible jump forward.
2 out of how many total nominations?
5.
Oh, I thought it was 7. Okay.
No, but it's wonderful that we're at this point. It'll be a lot more wonderful when, it's more like 4 women or 5 women. Like,
so let me ask you.
At least get once what men have gotten in the opposite, I guess, would be a wonderful.
The is it Sandra Day O'Connor or was it Ruth Bader Ginsburg who said how many women should be on the Supreme Court? 9.
Yeah.
Why would it be such a big deal? There have been 9 men.
A
lot. But do either of the women directors that were nominated for Best Director have a movie that is not about the life of a young woman? That is the question.
Yeah, Nomadland from Chloe Zhao.
And the other one is?
Promising Young Woman.
A Promising Young Woman. So how about this? I would also like to see a Best Director that includes multiple women that passes the Bechdel test. But maybe not. Maybe it gets the reverse Bechdel test where it's like a story that's not about a young woman. I mean, Nomadland, I have no idea. I conceptually know kind of what that is about. I assume it's also focused on Frances McDormand's story. McDermott?
Yeah, I mean, it's her story is like the working poor who have nowhere to live, basically.
And then again,
to the best of my, I've been trying to avoid.
Me too, because I really want to see it in the theater. I know we were getting close. And A Promising Young Woman, again, I've not seen anything for her, so I have no idea. But again, taking from the name, I assume that like Portrait of a Lady on Fire, it's going to basically be about the portrait of the lady. That would be my assumption. So, nonetheless, I mean, not again. It is a great step forward, but I would love to see like Total Recall Redux nominated, directed by a woman.
Yeah.
There's no reason why that would not be a good thing. Patty Jenkins getting nominated for
Wonder Woman.
Something else, because that's Wonder Woman. Like, can we get her? That's what she's done. I know, but like, nominated her for give her the opportunity to shoot something else, and then nominate her for it.
I mean, Catherine Bigelow's Zero Dark 30 was.
There we go. That is exactly what I'm looking for. Just like, it's a story that could be directed by anyone, and I think Catherine Bigelow got that because she had worked with a production company before, right? Like, that was.
I don't remember the exact story.
I want to say it was like a deal where the movie came to the that production company, but she came with them too. They wanted her to direct it. So like, great. That's what we need to do.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because no offense, Cory, but as good of a director as I think you are, I don't know that you would tell the same story of a promising young woman as a director, and I also don't know that you wouldn't. Maybe that's a good thing for you to direct. But it also goes the opposite way.
Yeah.
Women can direct just as well on anything. We just need to be given the opportunity. So.
Yeah. And I mean, really more than anything, it's about giving the opportunities. Because, I can find you a handful of women who have directed, big projects and can get, Patty Jenkins can get pretty much her selection of the movies that are out there.
Yeah.
She, not necessarily in competition with these guys, but she's now on the same level as, Anthony and Joe Russo, who could get whatever movie they want done, or like a Fincher or something like that. She's up there in stature enough to be deserving of it. What you need to do is get more women to the point where you can give them their first chance by giving them the opportunities that come before that first chance. That's the real.
My mind earlier, the reason I had like a little brain fart there is Coppola came in my head, and I was like, no, definitely a dude. Don't say that. And I was like, oh, wait. Sofia Coppola, also a director, also directed things that weren't women-focused or women-centric movies, and did an excellent job with it. But it's almost like we let one into this club at any one time. And time has passed, and now Patty may have her time. Maybe she's got it coming up because she did an action movie, and that was pretty good. Catherine Bigelow had a chance. She was there for a while, but like we're standing at the door saying only one allowed at any one time. We're going to nominate 2 directors. Well, you did that cute one about a 17-year-old girl, right? Okay, great. You can come in too, and we're going to let this other one come in, but no more. That's it.
I have just a couple things I would like to share as snubs in my mind.
Okay, yeah.
Delroy Lindo not getting nominated for Best Actor.
I believe that we had that conversation when we watched The Five Bloods.
Very upsetting to me.
Yes.
Spike and The Five Bloods just sort of getting no love whatsoever was kind of upsetting to me.
We gave you Judas and the Black Messiah. We gave you the trial of
The Five Bloods was much better than Judas and Black Messiah. That's my call. That's my saying on that one.
You just like it because there's like 4 alums of The Wire in that movie.
It doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt. I'm just saying, doesn't hurt.
Well, that's where you fucked up. You should have put more Wire alums in Judas and the Black Messiah. That would have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit! What else was there? Boy State not getting nominated for documentary. I enjoyed that one a lot.
I don't know that everybody saw that though.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think because it was Apple TV Plus, nobody actually saw it, and therefore it didn't get.
Really good though, and as an alum of Boy State, although not that Boy State, accurate. That was the other thing I liked about it is I saw myself in that documentary.
Yeah.
So.
No nomination for Wuhan Flu from Borat's subsequent movie film, which I thought for no other reason would have been great for the live performance aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Also, Maria Bakalova.
Yeah, nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And then one more. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was... Well, I mean, just generally speaking, I honestly think the best movie I saw all year was Soul. Like, I'm a little bit surprised that it didn't make the move up to Best Picture. And I know it's weird because, like, it's a Pixar movie and they don't usually get the same kind of love.
I was gonna say I'm not dating somebody who wears Mickey ears as an adult. So I'm mini ears. So I haven't seen it. It's not on my agenda to see.
I mean, it got nominated for best animated feature, and I would make it my pick of those 5, but I thought it was deserving of it. So anywho,
well, I just want to say too, the screenplay, adapted screenplay, original screenplay was a diverse group, or more diverse than it traditionally has been, which doesn't necessarily mean racially diverse. I think there were several people of color who were nominated in the categories, but there was also honestly diversity as far as different backgrounds, and it's not like and no offense, because I love all of these writers, but it's not typically these guys. It's typically guys like these guys. It's John August and Craig Mazin and a bunch of people you've heard before.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of new names and diverse backgrounds. Again, the guys who wrote Moonlight, which was adapted screenplay, right? No, was it original screenplay? Adapted screenplay?
I can't remember.
I want to say adapted. Adapted, right? So the guys who go up there on stage with the adapted screenplay are guys from Hollywood, essentially, that got a good story and rewrote it into a great screenplay. I like to see when there's more people out, and that is completely selfish on my part, because I am not diverse, as I said before we started. I am white. You can see it because I'm blown out. I'm completely white. Cory has a nice Irish red going on, at least that. I don't even have that. I'm just white. So diversity not really in the background, but diversity of story. Certainly, working class parents and college, etc. So I like to see diversity of story, if nothing else, and not just the same 5 guys who keep writing every year.
Yeah, and then one final thing. This doesn't need to be a big, huge deal, but Nick Markakis decided to call it an end to a long career, 15 years in the majors. A favorite of ours through the Oriole years.
Yep.
Nicholas. And I'm just I just wish him the best. I love Nick Markakis so much. He's not gonna be a Hall of Famer. He just doesn't have that kind of stat sheet. But in my mind, he was one of those great Orioles who kept things together during the lean years.
He'll probably be in the Orioles Hall of Fame.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure he will be. And I still think back from time to time of one of the saddest moments being when he broke his hand in the Yankee series.
Yeah.
And Buck was damn near crying in the press conference, going he's been through so many lean years, and we finally get to the playoffs and he broke his hand.
Yeah.
And Buck nearly crying. And anyway.
I want to say that when he left the Orioles, he left as I pointed out, for money, essentially, to go to the Braves. And I said the only way that this is forgivable is if he's looking for a retirement package. And he wants a little bit of extra money to go into the retirement years. And, Nick, to your credit, you ran out your contract with the Braves, and then you retired. So you were looking for a little bit more money to go into your retirement years. And
I mean, it really wasn't that much more. It was only $1 million a year more.
And that's what upset me at that point. I'm like, why would you leave the team that you have grown with for so long unless they said this and no more, and somebody else said, listen, we'll give you an extra $1.5 million a year, and you're thinking to yourself, I got 4 years left or 3 years left or whatever it was.
Well, and he grew up in Georgia, so I'm sure that was important to him. But,
right.
The Orioles could have at any point matched that contract, and he probably would have come back.
And
so,
they chose not to.
Yeah.
And again.
And, he made an all-star appearance in that time. He was with the Braves as opposed to with the Orioles.
And I will say, but for the record, all is forgiven.
Yeah.
You went for the money, and I get that. The Orioles could have matched it, and you would come back, but they didn't, and you didn't. But now you're retired. It's not as if you went there and then took less money on a 3-year contract extension to waste away in the Braves organization.
Yeah.
You did the contract, you got your money, and you left. So I understand.
So fare thee well, Nicholas.
Fare thee well, Nicholas. Good, nothing but good memories. So.
Yeah. Well, you want to know where you can find other good memories?
Where's that, Cory?
OTheAnthem.com. Cory to OTheAnthem.com. O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
Sorry, what's the number again?
443-219-7595. And you can find me at my website, CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoryBakerFilm, and at LegendCB5 on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
New stuff in the works?
Yes.
Okay.
Last week's plans got pushed to this week, so it's coming now.
Oh, well, I was just going to mention to everybody that we transitioned seamlessly there to the 4-year consideration segment. We skipped out on that brand new splash that's coming for 4-year consideration. I believe we're coming up on month 14.
We're in a pandemic.
Of waiting for that new splash.
It's tough to get my actors in the same place at the same time.
Yeah, if only the 2 actors from that were, I don't know, dating and always here every time I come here together. I mean, the napping schedule is certainly off. If I could just get all of you, like triplets, on the same napping schedule, I'm sure we could get a lot more done. But nonetheless, I would like to say big shout out to producer Roberto. He may yawn more often than producer Brooks during the episode, which certainly is not distracting whatsoever. But what he makes up for, what he lacks in enthusiasm, he makes up for in anal retentiveness, as was shown by his 5 hours of edits on a 2-minute reel. But you can find more of him at RTOAZN on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. Facebook. There you go.
Yeah.
And Arizona Acting, if you're looking for an actor for your next project. Right?
And,
is that right? Yes. Okay.
And unlike producer Brooks, who turns on lights he doesn't need to.
Well, listen, I will even take doing too much work for doing no work, basically, and yawning during the show. But you can find more of me at Robert and Cheek on all your social networks. Make sure you check out robertandcheek.com, where you can find more about everything I'm working on, including the books, which are available on Amazon.
Barrow's Books.
Thank you. And by the way, episode 362. Would have thought I would remember my lines by now, but what are you going to do? So we are working on edits of a lot of things. Most importantly, the books, which will be back on Amazon by the summertime, so that you don't have to pay $42 for a copy of any of the books, which is awesome, but also it doesn't come to me, so I don't really care. I'm going to put up a new $15 version of the book and undercut the market. So there's that coming. New video was supposed to go up today, and I realized after I left work that it didn't go live, despite the fact that I timed it to go live. So Kizik review or Kizik unboxing coming up, and the SandCloud, which was going to be later this week, will also be later this week, just on a different timeline because today's didn't go live. So.
All right. Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as I told you at the beginning of the show, Daylight Savings, we told you it was going to be an hour, and it was only an hour. It doesn't matter how long it seems like it may have lasted. But you've been listening to the O The Anthem podcast for the O The Anthem Digital Network. For Cory and producer Roberto, this is Rob. Have a great day and week, everybody.
Brooks, you're sleeping.
At least he's not chewing on cords.